We continue on page 249. Once more Atonement Day has come, all pretense gone, naked, the heart revealed to the hiding self. We stand on holy ground, between the day that was and the one that must be. We tremble. At what did we aim? How did we stumble? What did we take? What did we give? To what were we blind? Last year's confession came easily to the lips. Will this year's come from deeper than the skin? Say then, why are our paths strewn with promises like fallen leaves? Say then, when shall our lust be for wisdom? Say now, love and truth shall meet, justice and peace shall embrace. O hope of Israel, in our weakness give us strength. In our blindness be our guide. When we falter, hope. Make consistent our impulse for good. Let us know the joy of walking in your ways. For transgressions against God, the Day of Atonement atones. But for transgressions of one human being against another, the Day of Atonement does not atone until they have made peace with one another. Please rise. In the sight of God and of the congregation, no matter how far some of us have transgressed by departing from our people and our heritage, we pray as one on this night of repentance. Kol nidre, a whisper of wings, as promises are remembered, saint and sinner alike communes with the Most High. We are at one. Heart of all life, from this Day of Atonement.
Yedi asarna, yedi asarna. Yom Kippur Od Yom Kippurim. Yicheratno, vehom. Yehon Shorot, Yehon Sharon. Betelinum votolin. Nidrano Shevotana, 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 Lo
Knowingly or not, the whole community of Israel and all who live among them have sinned. Let them be forgiven. As in your love, you have been patient with this people from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day. So in your great love, may you forgive your people now. And God said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. Blessed is the eternal God, ruler of the universe.
remain standing as we continue with the Baruch Hu on page 253.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
O God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of night, yet as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before you." Even so does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in the varied experiences of our lives. When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives, then you live within our hearts, and we through righteousness behold your presence.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You shall love your eternal God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. True and enduring are the words spoken by our prophets. You are the living God. Your word brings life and light to the soul. You are the first and the last. Besides you, there is no Redeemer or Savior. You are the strength of our life, the power that saves us. Your majesty and your truth abide forever. You have been the help of our people in time of trouble. You are a refuge in all generations. Your power was manifest when we went free out of Egypt. In every liberation from bondage we see it. May your law of freedom rule the hearts of all your children, and your law of justice unite them in friendship. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and triumph by your power. O God, our refuge and our hope, we glorify your name now, as did our people in ancient days.
Mi kamocha v'il Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osefele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha, בוקייam לפני משה זיילי חנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם.
The shadows fall, but end of day fills the eye with brightness. The infinite heavens glow, and all creation sings its hymn of glory. With hope, therefore, we pray for light within. O God, reveal yourself. Hide no more. Let your face shine on all who seek you. Eternal and infinite God, banish our darkness. Be present to us as the sudden light that lifts the heart and brings us joy. Then shall we be at peace, O God, whose peaceful shelter we seek through all the days and nights of our lives. We turn to page 260 and rise.
Ananana sfatai tiftach Ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana sfatai tiftach Ananana ufi yagid tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana sfatai tiftach Ananana ufi yagid Ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah v'Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanura El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Yahava Zofreinu L'Chaim Melech Chafetz V'Chaim V'Nodveinu V'Sefer HaChaim Lemancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah.
Praise be the eternal God and God of all generations, God of our mothers and fathers, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, great, mighty, and exalted.
For the sake of your name.
Remember us unto life, O Sovereign, who delights in life, and inscribe us in the book of life, for your sake, O God of life.
You are our ruler and helper, our Savior and protector. Blessed is our eternal God, shield of our people in every age.
Great is the eternal power at the heart of life, mighty the love that is stronger than death. Life's harsh winds uproot the weak. Its hard rains beat down upon our kin. Let those who stand support the falling. Keep faith with those who lie in the dust.
To the sick we must bring healing. To those who are not in peace.
How good to redeem the ancient pledge, for joy to blossom in arid soil.
We give thanks for the power to live and to act, and for the blessing of love that is stronger than death.
Be seated. Eternal God, let your presence be manifest to us in all your works, that reverence may fill the hearts of all your creatures. Make all your children mindful of your glory, that we may unite to do your will with perfect heart. For yours are dominion and power, and the impress of your hand is upon all that you have made.
Grant honor to those who revere you. Inspire with courage those who wait for you, and fulfill the hope of all who trust in your name.
Hasten the day that will bring gladness to all who dwell on earth, and victory of the Spirit to those who bear witness to your truth. You alone shall reign over all your works, as it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever and ever. From generation to generation. Hallelujah.
Ve'yehin mi baladeho ka'katuv ויגבר נצרות המשפט, והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
We continue on page 264. We render thanks to you that you have called us to your service, to bring the knowledge of your word to the four corners of the earth. In this solemn hour, O God, we would draw near to you. May the observance of this Day of Atonement help us to remember Israel's sacred heritage. Teach us to build our lives on the abiding foundations of your law. Open our eyes to the goodness of life and its sacred opportunities for service. O source of mercy, give us the grace to show forbearance to those who offend against us. When the wrongs and injustices of others wound us, may our hearts not despair of human good. May no trial, however severe, embitter our souls and destroy our trust. When beset by trouble and sorrow, our mothers and fathers put on the armor of faith and fortitude. May we too find strength to meet adversity with quiet courage and unshaken will. Help us to understand that injustice and hate will not forever afflict the human race, that righteousness and mercy will triumph. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and bring us near to your service, that we may be worthy to proclaim your truth to all the world. Purify our hearts that we may serve you. Who sanctifies Israel.
Retzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekaber Tehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael amecha Korav penel avadecha v'chanenu shefach aleinu v'tachazena elneinu b'shuvecha letzion berachamim baruch atah Adonai
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Teach us, O God, to labor for righteousness, and inscribe us in the book of life, blessing, and peace. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of hope.
Please rise as we continue on page 269. Our God, God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, our God and God of all ages, we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, we have transgressed.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, tavo lefanecha tefilatenu ve'al titalon mitechinatenu she'en anachnu azefonimu כשעורף לומר לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו חטאנו, אבינו פשענו.
Please be seated. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dabarnu Dofi. We all have committed offenses. Together we confess these human sins, the sins of arrogance, bigotry, and cynicism, of deceit and egotism, flattery and greed, injustice and jealousy. Some of us kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded. Others were obstinate or obsessive, quarrelsome, rancorous, or selfish. There was violence, weakness of will, xenophobia. We yielded to temptation and showed zeal for bad causes. We have turned aside from your commandments and from your precepts, and it has not availed us. You are just whatever befalls us. You call us to righteousness, but we bring evil upon ourselves. What can we say before you who dwell on high? What shall we plead before you, enthroned beyond the stars? Are not all the things known to you, both the mysteries of eternity and the dark secrets of all that live? You search the inmost chambers of the heart and probe the deep recesses of the soul. Nothing is concealed from your sight. Now may it be your will, God of all generations, to forgive all our sins, to pardon all our wrongdoings, and to blot out all our transgressions. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you under duress or by choice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you consciously or unconsciously. V'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, and the sin we have committed against you openly or secretly. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you in our thoughts. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you. V'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, and the sin we have committed against you by the abuse of power. For all these, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. The sin we have committed against you by hardening our hearts. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you by profaning your name. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, and the sin we have committed against you by disrespect for parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you by speaking slander. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the sin we have committed against you by dishonesty in our work. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha, and the sin we have committed against you by hurting others in any way. For all these, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elohim selichot selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu הלך לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
We now take a moment for silent prayer. Please turn to page 280 and rise for the Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our Avinu Malkeinu Patach Sha'arei Shemaim L'Tfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open. Avinu Malkeinu Teheh HaSha'ah Hazot Sha'at HaRachamim Ve'et Ratzon Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let this be an hour of compassion. Avinu Malkeinu Harem Keren Yisrael Amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people. Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Lama'an Harugim Al Shem Kodshecha. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Lama'an Ba'e Ba'esh Uvamayim Al Kiddush Shamecha. Avinu Malkeinu, remember those who went through fire and water. Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Lama'ancha V'Hoshi'enu. Avinu Malkeinu, be mindful of us. Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Slicha U'Mechila. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book. Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Shua. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of deliverance. And Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Va'anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim. Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshi'enu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu Ratanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu Amolaleinu ve'alolaleinu ve'ta'aleinu Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Godenu Besefer Chaim Tovim, Avinu Malkeinu,
The Kol Nidre blessing and prayer, it's a act of contrition. To say that we are sorry for the wrongs and sins, not that we have done last year, but what we will do this year. Historically, it is a prayer that was created during the Spanish Inquisition when Jews were made to say yes when they meant no, to convert to Christianity to save their lives. And so to say the Kol Nidre prayer was allowing them to observe Judaism in secret, but in public, having to have another identity. Historically, it was a way for them to acknowledge that they know they would sin the minute they left that service. But really, there's something eternal in that prayer, something about the future. That's really what I believe the Jewish people is all about leaving a legacy for the future, making the world better. That's at the heart of the Kol Nidre prayer and blessing and service. We look to the future. But it's interesting because I find that people are more focused on the here and now and actually are not looking beyond their own needs. We more often than not are like the woman who in the airport goes to buy a newspaper and a small package of cookies. She sits at the gate waiting for her plane to arrive. And all of a sudden, she hears a rustling. A man in a nice suit is eating a cookie. He sits right behind her. He's eating her cookie. She is outraged. So she takes one herself. Then what happens? She hears rustling again. I can't believe, she can't even look at him. She's so angry. So she takes another one. What's worse? The last cookie, you know what he does? He breaks it in half and sends half of it over to her. He gets up and he leaves. She's just fuming. She's playing in her mind what happened over and over and over again. And then, of course, her plane arrives. Her section is called, and she opens her purse to get out her seat. And there is her unopened package of cookies. Whose cookie is it? It seems as though we are taught from a very young age about whose cookie is it. Is it yours? No, it's mine. It just doesn't really leave a legacy, does it? It's about the here and now where you don't even notice what's right in front of you. We seem to be so caught up in that. For me, it really is about the text from Joel that says, your children will teach their children, and their children, their children, and their children, the generations after. When you're worrying about your cookie, you're not looking to the world and to the future and what you want to leave behind. You're looking at just what you want. I think there are 3 ways for us to create a legacy. It's to help us understand that wisdom and knowledge is truly important. I think in this day and age, we really don't need to teach our children how to make a living. They seem to do that pretty well. We've taught that really well. It's how to make a life that's meaningful. That we've missed a bit. And that, I think, is about a legacy. So the idea of Judaism being a deep well of wisdom is essential. Daniel Hartman was here from the Hartman Institute in Jerusalem, and he said, we have focused so much on the death narrative, on the Holocaust in Israel, that our children think that is the only thing that's Judaism. That is what we've fed them for all these years, and it just isn't enough out of context. We have to teach them an entire Jewish history. We have to teach them what our sources say. We have to teach them how to be in the world and what Judaism has to teach. You know that cookie story? Well, let's look at what Judaism has to say about it. A year and a half ago, the cantor and I took a number of families to Israel, and we participated in what's called the Leket program. Leket is the 4 corners of a vineyard or a field that is not harvested by the person who is a steward of it. Rather, it's left for the poor. We picked onions for an entire morning and learned about this program that actually also brings uneaten food from bar bat mitzvah ceremonies, from weddings, from a brit milah or a naming, to food shelves in Israel, to feed the hungry so that the food isn't thrown out. I talked to the sisterhood about this program, and they're trying to start it here at Temple Israel. It's telling us it's not about your cookie or my cookie. Actually, none of us own the cookie. In Judaism, God owns it all, and we are but stewards of what we have. It's said in Judaism that if we don't give tzedakah, guess what? We are like squatters. Squatters on this earth, because tzedakah, justice, and charity, they are our rent for being on this earth. That is something to talk about. That is a deep well of truth about caring for each other rather than worrying if it's our cookie. Wisdom and knowledge lead to character building, and that is another legacy we leave to the future generations. You see, character is built by experience. You can have someone 17 who is incredibly wise and somebody who is 93 who hasn't quite learned some lessons they need to learn. It's not chronology, it really is experience. But it seems that we again have not allowed this generation to have the experiences that build character. I believe failure is a number one teacher of character. Each one of us in this sanctuary has failed at some point in our lives, and that's what's gotten us to this point, because we learn a lot of great lessons. Wendy Mogul says that everyone needs a bad fourth grade teacher, and everyone needs a shallow, promiscuous friend. She says it a different way. Because the lessons you learn from a bad teacher are lessons of life. Lessons you learn from a friend that is not one that's blessed by perhaps mom and dad are things that you shouldn't do in life. You learn that. Those are good lessons. But we so quickly want to protect our children and we change the classroom or complain to the principal. If we want self-reliant children and adults, then we can't protect them. They have to learn the lessons of life. And character. Character builds convictions. Now, conviction is an essential part of who we are and is an essential part of a legacy we must leave. You see, today would have been my father's 90th birthday. He died 6 years ago in the month of November. But today, he would have been 90. Now, here's a man who I didn't agree with on many fronts. We had extremely different political views. But he taught me a lot about what it means to have convictions. He spent most of his life surrounded by women, and he was not afraid of his female side of things. He was a heart surgeon, but he was an artist. He was a gourmet cook. He was a connoisseur of fine wine. He taught me a lot about beauty and aesthetic, and he wasn't afraid to make sure that we were fed the delicious delicacies that he created. He also was a man who reinvented himself many times. He began as a surgeon. He was a surgeon in St. Louis and worked for the university there and was one of the first surgeons to do open heart surgery, beginning first on dogs as an experiment and then moving to humans. At 50 years old, he decided to retire from surgery because he never wanted to walk into an OR and have people whisper behind his back that he was too old to perform the surgery. So he retired and went into preventative care. He was a part of Mr. Fit. I don't know if any of you know about that, but it's where they came up with the risk factors for cardiac care. The idea of blood pressure, the idea of not smoking, of exercising, making sure that we could control our own risk factors and have a healthier life. And when that was over, he didn't want to become a burden to his medical practice, so he went back to school and learned echocardiogram and opened up as part of his practice that he would do those procedures to keep patients coming to his practice. It's interesting, he also tried to sell his practice to the university to teach young doctors how to talk to patients. And it got this close. It was a quite innovative idea where he was actually going to have young medical students follow him as an apprentice program. At the last minute, it fell through. And so he retired from his practice. My father also taught me about conviction. He would tell me, Marcia, it doesn't matter what you think, it matters that you think. Stand up for what you believe in, even if I disagree. And so today, on Yom Kippur, I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror if I didn't say something about the 2 amendments that will be on the ballot in November. What I can clearly say is that there should be no amendment to a constitution to limit people's rights and responsibilities. Whatever one thinks, that is just wrong. It is up to our lawmakers for it to go back there, because it is half-baked. And it's not up to us to decide that. My father actually often would argue with me. He taught me how to debate. He taught me to debate the issues and not the people. And so, in his memory today, as he would have turned 90, I just want to say that he really did die the way that he lived. You see, he was hospitalized, and my sisters told me to come home. I came back because he had decided he didn't want any additional heroic measures. He had just finished dialysis, of which he had been on for 3 years, and so we thought it would be a few days. He went back up to his room and he said, you know what, I want everyone to go home, have dinner, go enjoy, and then come back later tonight and we'll talk. We all went home. We were having dinner around the table that he often served us and fed us, in the home that he built for us. And we got a call that he had died. He died alone. And for me, I believe he did so that he could always be the patriarch of the family, that we didn't have to watch him. And for him, that was important. My mother, on the other hand, she needed everybody there. So on his 90th birthday, I thank you for indulging me, of helping me know that it really is about the legacy that each of us leaves that is essential to this world. And that we can take this day of Yom Kippur to look into that future. And like my father, kind of do life his way. Zichrono livracha. May his memory always be a blessing. Amen.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Vaneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu
We begin the conclusion of our service with the adoration, the Aleinu, on page 282. Please rise. Let us revere the God of life and sing the praise of nature's source, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is proclaimed by the starry skies, and whose wonders are revealed in the human heart. You are our God, there is none else. With love and awe, we acclaim the eternal God, the Holy One. Blessed be the One.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. We call to mind the following people who have died in recent days and weeks and months: Cecile Feldman, Paul Seymour, Bud Stelberg, Marvin Borman, Edward Henkin, Sidney Castro, Eugene Snyder, Zelda Zach, Pauline Gertman, Evelyn Bloom, Harriet Faye Rutstein, Abby Epstein-Cooler, Norley Feinstein, Dr. Thomas O'Kane, Carol Oren, and Jay Binder. And we link their names to those whose Yortzeit, the anniversary of their deaths, are commemorated at this service: Matthew Arnold, Max Berman, Pearl Kaplan, Esther Sapie-Kleiman, Dr. Samuel D. Dworsky, Rabbi Samuel N. Dinard, who served this congregation from 1901 to 1921, Blanche Finkelstein, Max Frank, Dorothy Gertrude Fulton, Patricia Glasser, John Gasway, Jerry Ida Halper, Deborah Halverson, Benjamin Howard, Paula Klein, Morris Lebowski, Cynthia Cunyan Ginsburg, Joseph Moses, Kiva Noun, Lubov Paley, Ruth Perlman, Lenora Robichek, Herman Lewis Rosenblatt, Dorothy Rubin, Robert Rubin, Maya Schlesinger, Shirley Snyder, Douglas Sweet, Maurice Swiller, Natalie Joy Swiller, Joseph Warkoff, and Howard Weisskopf. In the memories of these individuals and all those whom we hold in our hearts, we continue with the mourners' Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. V'yamich Malchutei. B'chai Achon V'yom Echon V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala Uzman Kariv Imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam L'Melo Maya. Yit Barak V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Termam V'yit Naseh. V'yit Hadar V'yit Aleh V'yit Halal Shmei D'Kudashah B'rechu. La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata. Tushbachata V'Nechemata. Da'amiran V'Alma V'Imru. Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all the bereaved among us. Amen.
We conclude our service with the singing of Oseh Shalom, and we'll meet you outside.
Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Amen. Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Israel. Amen.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and may God keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yechuneka. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's light be upon you and may God grant you the most precious gift, the gift of wholeness and the gifts of peace. May it be God's will. Amen. Shana Tova.